Hello dear student, welcome to our new session of electrostats. And in electrostats I'll already tell you that we have two chapters. One is electric charge and electric field, and second chapter is electric potential and capacitor. So it's your first chapter running and it's your 16th lecture. In this lecture we'll start the last segment of this chapter called electric charge and electric field. So write down, my dear student, electric flux. This is the last portion of this chapter. It is called electric flux and its application. So try to understand what actually electric flux is. Write down the heading. It is density of electric lines of force. Density of electric lines of force. Density of electric lines of force. See, my dear student, electric lines of force means presentation of electric field, which I already tell you that for positive charge we'll made electric field lines away from the charge, and for negative charge the electric field lines is always towards the charge. So basically electric field lines is simple electric lines of force. So electric lines of force is not a new concept. I already tell you when I am explaining electric field lines that electric field lines are basically acts like a medium which execute forces between two charge. So my dear student, density of electric lines of force. To understand the density of electric lines of force, consider a area. Let's suppose we have a area like this. This is our considered area. It is area, let's suppose the area is A, and through this area, let's suppose electric field lines are passing. This is your electric field lines. So my dear student, we have a area and through this area electric field lines are passing. Let's suppose the total number of electric field lines which is passing, these arrow marked lines are called electric field lines, which I already tell you. Let N1 is basically total number of electric lines of force passing from given area. N1 is basically total number of electric lines of force which is passing from given area. So dear student, basically we are discussing density of electric lines of force and we have a area. Through this area, let's suppose N1 is the number of electric lines of force which is passing. Now see, my dear student, all the lines are passing from this area. As I'll count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So value of N1 is 5. So all the electric lines of force is passing from this area whose magnitude is A. So I'll write here all the electric lines of force, all electric lines of force is passing from the given area. All the electric lines of force is passing from this given area. Now see, my dear student, if area is, let's suppose its magnitude is A1, so a magnitude of area, I'll write here magnitude of considered area. Magnitude of considered area is A1. So now see, my dear student, if area is A1, then total number of electric lines of force which is passing is N1. So if I am asking that from unit area, how many electric lines of force are passing? From unit area, which is 1 meter square, it is N1 by A1. What is this N1 by A1? It is number of electric lines of force passing from given area. number of electric lines of force passing from unit area, not given area, unit area. Unit area means 1 meter square. So from 1 meter square, my dear student, the number of electric lines of force which is passing is N1 by A1. Try to understand. This N1 by A1 is basically number of electric lines of force passing from given unit area. This is basically called density of electric lines of force. Density of electric lines of force means number of electric lines of force passing from unit area. Unit area means 1 meter square is called density of electric lines of force. So what is basically density of electric lines of force? Number of electric field lines passing from any unit area. Unit area means 1 meter square. So number of electric lines of force which is passing from 1 meter square is N1 by A1. So remember, my dear student, this number of electric lines of force passing from 1 meter square, number of electric lines of force passing from 1 meter square is called density of electric lines of force. So density is nothing but number of electric field lines. Remember this thing. This word density means nothing but number of electric field lines which is passing from 1 meter square, or we can say unit area, is called density of electric lines of force. Density of electric lines of force. Now see, I hope you all understand. Whatsoever the number of electric field lines which is passing from 1 meter square is considered to be density of electric lines of force. Now see, if we have one more area similar to this area, let's say similar to this area, let's suppose this area is also A1. So let's suppose the number of electric field lines which is passing from this area is N2. See, the number of electric field lines which is passing from this situation and number of electric field lines which is passing from this situation. In both the cases, area is same, its magnitude is A1 and this area magnitude is also A1, but number of electric field lines which is passing from this area is less compared to number of electric field lines which is passing from this area. So if number of electric field lines is more, my dear student, then it is but obvious that from 1 meter square more number of electric field lines is passing in this situation compared to this situation. So if from 1 meter square, if number of electric field lines which is passing is more, then in that case density of electric field lines is also more, because we know that density means number of electric field lines or number of electric lines of force passing from 1 meter square, or we can say unit area. So dear student, if electric field lines are close to each other, then in that case, here see, electric field lines are separated by a distance. Compared to this distance is less, so we'll say that electric field lines is more in this case compared to this case, but in both the cases area is same. Still, number of electric field lines which is passing from 1 meter square is more in this case compared to this case. So we'll write in form of note that if electric field lines are close to each other, I'll write in form of note, if electric field lines are close to each other, then from 1 meter square number of electric lines of force passing is more, hence in that case density is also more. So I hope you all are getting my point, that if if number of electric lines of force is close to each other, then in that case the number of electric field lines passing from any unit area is more compared to any other situation. So if number of electric field lines which is passing from unit area is basically density. So if number of electric field lines which is passing from unit area is more, then it is but obvious in that case density of electric lines of force is also more. So write down in any region, write down in any region, in any region, let's suppose we have a region. Region is said to be area basically, my dear student. The number of lines in any region, let's suppose this is a region which is also called area. Let the electric field lines which is passing from this area is n. N is basically total number of lines. Remember this thing, my dear student. N is basically total number of electric lines of force. So write down in any region, the number of lines per unit area in any region, the number of electric lines of force, the number of electric lines of force per unit area is directly proportional to, in any region the number of electric lines of force per unit area is directly proportional to the magnitude of electric field, directly proportional to the magnitude of electric field in that region. So remember, my dear student, I am writing here that in any region the number of electric lines of force per unit area is directly proportional to the magnitude of electric field line in that region. So if number of electric field lines are passing from any unit area is basically more, then in that region we'll obvious understand that electric field is strong, because electric field is like basically presentation of electric field here is through electric lines of force. So if number of electric lines of force is more, then it is but obvious that in that region electric field is also strong. See, I'll give you an example. Let's suppose we have a area. Let's suppose area is A and one more area is here. Let's suppose both area is same. In this situation, 3 electric field lines are passing from this area, and in this situation 5, 4, whatsoever number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's suppose 6 electric field lines are passing from this area. Both area is same, but here the number of electric field lines is more compared to this situation. So it is but obvious that electric lines of force is basically presentation of electric field. So if number of electric lines of force is more in that region, but obvious that electric field is strong. So in this situation, number of electric lines of force is more. So we'll say that electric field is strong in this region compared to this region. Why? Because number of electric lines of force is more in this region compared to this region. So if area is same, then from 1 meter square in this region and from 1 meter square in this region, it is but obvious that in this region, in this situation, from 1 meter square, that is unit area, number of electric field lines passing is more compared to this, because in this region, or we can say in this scenario, or we can say in this situation, more number of electric lines of force is present compared to this situation. And we already know that, see, in any region the number of electric lines of force per unit area. So electric lines of force per unit area means density. So density means number of lines passing from unit area. It is N by A. Total number of electric lines of force divided by area is basically density. So we'll say that density is directly proportional to electric field in that region. So I'll write here, because see, in any region the number of electric lines of force per unit area is directly proportional to the magnitude of electric field in that region. If number of electric field lines, or we can say number of electric lines of force is more, then density is more, and if density is more, then electric field in that region is also more, because electric lines of force is presentation of electric field. So if number of electric lines of force is more, then it is but obvious that electric field in that region is also more. So I'll write here that number of electric lines of force per unit area, number of electric lines of force passing from unit area is density. So density is proportional to electric field, or we can say E is proportional to N by A. So N is proportional to EA. This N is basically number of electric lines of force. This N is basically number of electric lines of force, number of electric lines of force, and this number technically called, my dear student, electric flux. This number of electric lines of force is called electric flux, which is represented by phi. So we'll say that phi is proportional to EA. Phi is proportional to EA. I hope you all understand this thing, that density, that is number of electric lines of force passing from any area, is proportional to electric field. And we know that density is basically number of electric lines of force passing from 1 meter square, which is called unit area. So N by A is proportional to E. So we'll take A this side. So N is proportional to EA. And what is N? N is total number of electric lines of force. I'll write here total. Remember this thing, my dear student, total number of electric lines of force. So this total number of electric lines of force is called electric flux. So electric flux is nothing but number of electric lines of force, or we can say total number of electric lines of force. So my dear student, if flux is basically, write down new heading, write down electric flux, then we'll discuss about flux. Now I hope you all understand what actually electric flux is. Electric flux is nothing but total number of electric lines of force. Total number of electric lines of force. So our today's heading is electric flux. So electric flux is nothing but total number of electric lines of force passing through unit area, is called electric flux. So I'll write here electric flux is basically nothing but a number of electric lines of force passing through given area. So if electric flux is number, then we know that number is basically scalar quantity. So electric flux is nothing but scalar quantity. I hope you all are understanding this thing. Electric flux is nothing but number of electric lines of force passing from any given area. So flux is basically number, and we know that number cannot carry any direction. So we'll say flux is a scalar quantity. Now moving forward, we know that N is proportional to EA and N is nothing but flux. So I'll write flux is equals to EA. Now see, E is electric field, which is vector quantity. A is area. My dear student, remember this thing. In 12th class, we'll always consider area to be a vector quantity. For area, we'll discuss more in next lecture. So I'll write here A is area, which is considered to be vector. A is area which is considered to be vector quantity. So flux is proportional to EA. So E is vector, A is vector, and we know that A vector dot B vector is equals to magnitude of A, magnitude of B, and cos theta. So we'll write remove proportionality and put equal to, and equal constant is introduced. The value of constant, numerical value of constant is 1, so we no need to write any term in place of constant. So flux is equals to E vector dot A vector, because we know that E is electric field, A is area vector, E is vector, A is vector, and phi is scalar. So we know that if we need scalar, then it must be dot product. So we'll also write here it as EA cos theta, where theta is angle between electric field vector and area vector. Theta is angle between electric field vector and area vector. So we'll discuss about flux. Flux is nothing but electric lines of force passing through any given area. First thing. Second thing, flux is just a number. So if we are consider flux to be number, then we know that number is a scalar quantity. It cannot carry any direction. So we'll introduce as flux is equals to E vector dot A vector, where E is electric field and A is area vector. So we'll get a new definition of electric flux. Instead of number of electric lines of force passing through a given area, you'll also write it is the dot product of electric field vector and area vector. So I'll write the definition, one more definition of flux, or it is the dot product of electric field vector and area vector. So remember, my dear student, flux is nothing but dot product of electric field and area vector. And in simple terms, you will say electric flux is nothing but electric lines of force passing from any given area. Electric lines of force passing from any given area. So flux is basically E vector dot A vector. Flux is equals to E vector dot A vector. This is the exact formula of electric flux. I hope you all understand about electric flux. Electric flux is basically number of electric lines of force passing from any given area. If the term given area changes into unit area, then it will be flux is converted into density, because we know that density of electric lines of force means number of electric lines of force passing from any unit area, which is 1 meter square. So that is called density of electric lines of force. And if we'll say number of electric lines of force passing from any given area, then it is called electric flux. And flux is nothing but number. So flux is scalar quantity, first thing. Second thing, flux is basically dot product of electric field vector and area vector. I hope you all understand about flux. Now we'll discuss about area vector, because area is always considered to be scalar, but in 12th class we'll consider area to be vector. So if area is vector, then we must understand its direction. So our next topic is area vector. So dear student, in our syllabus we'll counter with two different natures of area. One is plane area, and other is curved area. I hope you all understand what actually plane area is and what actually curved area is. So plane area is nothing but like this. Let's suppose this is an area. So this is basically plane area. But if I'll make this notebook like this, then this part is basically curved area. So area is basically of two types. one is plane area and second is curved area. Plane area and curved area. Like if we're talking about you know a cuboid. So cuboid carries 6 faces, all the faces are plane, then that is considered to be in plane area. But if I am talking about solid sphere, then we know that the solid sphere is curved by shape. So that is called curved surface area. If I am talking about cylinder, then cylinder carry 2 plane area and 1 curved surface area. So area is basically of 2 types. One is plane area and second is curved area. Now see my dear student, if area is vector, then it must carry some direction. So let's suppose I am taking a plane area. First we will discuss about plane area, then we will discuss about curved area. So I am talking about only plane area now. So let's suppose we have a plane area. This is a plane area. So this is your plane area, my dear student. Always remember, for any area, the area vector is perpendicular to that area and towards the observer. So my dear student, let's suppose if one observer is standing here, then for this area, let's suppose this plane area carry magnitude A. So the area vector is always perpendicular to the area and towards the observer. So the area vector for this plane area is like this. This is your area vector. I hope you all are understanding the point that this is our plane area, and this plane area, for any plane area, the direction of area vector is like this and towards the observer. So I'll write here in form of note, for any area, the area vector is always towards the observer and perpendicular to the area Remember my dear student, for any area, the area vector is always towards the observer and perpendicular to the area. Let's suppose if the position of the observer changes, now the observer is in this side. So if observer is here, then its direction of area vector changes. Now it is like this and towards the observer. If we have an area like this, let's suppose this is our area and this area is A. Now see, the area is like this, then its area vector, it is but obvious that observer must be present in this position. So for this area, if the face of area is in upward direction, then its area vector is towards observer and perpendicular to area. If we'll see this area in downward direction, then its direction is in downward and it is your area vector. So remember my dear student, for any area, I am talking about any plane area, not curved area, I am only talking about plane area. So remember dear student, for any plane area, the area vector is always towards the observer and perpendicular to the area. So I'll write one more note that for any area, the direction of area vector is always depends on the position of observer. Remember this thing my dear student, that for any area, if see, this is your area, if observer is here, then area vector is towards observer, but or area vector is always perpendicular to area. Similarly, if for same area observer is present here, then the direction of area vector is in this side towards the observer and perpendicular to the area. Similarly, if we have this area and this observer is present in upward side, then area vector is upward. If observer is present in lower direction or below the area, then the area vector is downward direction. So I hope you all understand that how we'll consider area to be a vector and its direction. You have to remember two things only, that for any area, the area vector is always perpendicular to area and towards the observer. Now we'll discuss more about plane area vector. So write down plane area vector. Plane area vector. I'll write here plane area vector. I'll consider a cuboid. Let's suppose, my dear student, this is our Cartesian system. Let's suppose we have a cuboid like this of side A. Let's suppose this is our cuboid of side A. Sorry. We have a cuboid of side A like this. So this is our cuboid A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H, and its side is, let's suppose, my dear student, A. So we know that for cuboid its area is side into side, which is A square. So area of face, it is equal to A square for any cuboid. And we know that, my dear student, any cuboid carries 6 faces. I'll write here for cuboid it carry 6 face. So I'll write their faces. One is A, B, C, D. So first is your A, B, C, D. Now see, my dear student, this is x-axis, this is y-axis, this is z-axis. We know that along x-axis unit vector is I cap, along y-axis unit vector is j cap, and along z-axis unit vector is k cap. Try to understand. I'll try to explain you how you will make area vector for any plane area. So this is your area. This is A, B, C, D. We know that this A, B, C, D is in upward direction. Its area vector is in upward direction. So the area vector is in upward direction. We'll write it as A, B, C, D is side is A square, and for direction we'll use unit vector, it is j cap. I hope you all are understanding. Similarly, below to A, B, C, D, it is E, F, G, H. So E, F, G and H, its area is A square. Now see, my dear student, for this side A, F, G, H, the area vector is always downward. So below y-axis it is minus j cap. So I'll write minus j cap. Similarly, if I am talking about positive x-axis side, it is B, F, G, C or B, C, B, F, G. So C, B, F, G, it is A square and its face is toward positive x-axis. So I'll write it as I cap. Why I am using direction? Because here we are considering area to be vector whose magnitude and direction must be present. So magnitude of area of each face is A square, and for direction we are using I cap, J cap and K cap. Next, moving forward to 4th point. So opposite to this, it is D, A, E, H. So D, A, E, H, it is equals to magnitude of area is A square and this face is in towards negative x-axis. So I'll write it as minus I cap. Similarly, 5th part, front face, it is D, C, G, H. So D, C, G, H, it is equals to A square and its direction is towards z-axis, positive z-axis. So I'll write it as K cap, and 6th part is backside of this DCGH, it is ABFE. So ABFE, it is equals to A square and minus K cap. So this is the process how we'll make area vector of any plane area. I hope you all are understanding how to make the area vector of any plane area. Remember, my dear student, for any plane area, the area vector is always towards observer and perpendicular to area. Here we have a cuboid of side A, so we know that area will be A square, and with the magnitude of area is A square, and for direction we'll use I cap, J cap and K cap. So I hope you all understand how to make the area of any area vector, any plane area vector. Now moving forward, come to again, that is the topic we are discussing is electric flux. So the formula of electric flux is, write down special cases of electric flux, write down special case of electric flux, special case of electric flux. See, we know that flux is basically dot product of electric field and area vector, that is E vector dot A vector. It is very easy part. So now moving forward, we'll write it as EA cos theta, where theta is angle between electric field and area vector. Now see my dear student, case first. Let's suppose we have a area and electric field lines are passing through this area. Let's suppose area is A and electric field lines are passing through this area is like this. Let's suppose the observer is in this direction. Case 1, the observer is present in this direction. So if observer is present here, then for this area, the area vector must be along this side, because area vector is always perpendicular to area and towards the observer. So its area vector is like this. Now see, both electric field and area vector are in same direction. So if electric field and area vector are in same direction, then we'll write theta must be equal to 0 degree, because electric field and area vector both are in same direction. So if electric field and area vector both are in same direction, then angle between them is equals to 0. So we'll write flux is equals to EA cos 0, and we know that if cos 0, the value of cos 0 is 1, so it is equals to EA. Now see, this value of flux is positive. This value of flux is positive. So what implies if flux is positive? If flux is positive, my dear student, then see, if you are observer and watching this situation, so if you are observer and watching this situation, then what you feel? You feel that electric field comes out from the area. So remember this thing, my dear student. I'll write in form of note that if flux is positive, then it implies electric field lines are coming out. Electric field lines are coming out from given area. You have to remember this point, my dear student, that if flux comes positive, then you must understand that electric field lines are coming out from the area. Similarly, moving to case 2, your case 2 is, let's suppose we have a area here. Let's suppose area A is here and electric lines of force are going like this. Now observer is present in this direction. Now see, observer is present in this direction. So we know that for any area, its area vector is always towards the observer. So I'll make the area vector of this situation. It is like this. This is your area vector, A vector. Now my dear student, we know that flux is basically E vector dot A vector. We'll write here as EA cos theta, and for theta, see, electric field is in this side and area vector is in this side. So if electric field and area vector both are opposite to each other, then we know that angle will be 180 degree. So flux is equals to EA cos 180, and we know that cos 180 is minus 1, so flux is minus EA. Now see my dear student, flux is not a vector quantity, flux is scalar quantity, and any scalar quantity never be negative. See, because flux is basically nothing but number of electric lines of force passing from any given area. This is basically the definition of flux. So if I'm talking about number of electric lines of force passing from any given area is flux, then number never be negative. But in this situation, flux comes to be negative. So if flux is negative, then it implies number of electric lines of force is C. With respect to observer, kindly identify what he'll see. He'll see that electric field lines are going towards the area. In this situation, electric field lines are coming out from area. Similarly, in this situation, electric field lines are going towards the area. So if flux comes to be negative, I'll write here in form of note that if flux comes to be negative, if flux is negative, note, if electric flux is negative, it implies electric lines of force is going towards the area. Electric field lines is going towards the area. Now we'll discuss case 3. Let's suppose we have this situation. Case 3 is, let's suppose this is our area and observer is present here. Now see my dear student, its area vector is like this, and let's suppose electric lines of force is passing like this. Now see, if you are seeing that area vector is upward, or let's suppose area vector is downward even, this is your area vector. So angle between electric field and area vector is negative, 90 degree, then we know that the value of flux is phi is equals to, electric flux is equals to E vector dot A vector. I'll write here flux is equals to E vector dot A vector, and we know that if I'll operate it, it is EA cos theta. So in this situation, angle between electric field and area vector both are perpendicular to each other, so angle is 90 degree. So I'll write flux is equals to EA cos 90, and we know that the value of cos 90 is 0, so flux is 0. Now see my dear student, if flux comes to be 0, it implies no electric field lines is passing from this given area. So I'll write here, if flux is 0, I'll write note, if electric flux is 0, if electric flux is 0, it implies no electric field lines, are passing from the given area. So remember my dear student, if flux comes to be 0, then it implies no electric field lines are passing from the given area. If flux is positive, it implies electric field lines are coming out from the area. If flux is negative, it implies electric field lines are going towards the area, and flux is nothing but electric field lines passing from any given area, or we can say number of electric field lines passing from any given area, and the value of electric flux is E vector dot A vector. So the new definition of electric flux is dot product of electric field and area vector. It is also called electric flux. One more thing we will discuss is density of electric lines of force. So density of electric lines of force means number of electric lines of force passing from any unit area, or we can say 1 meter square. Number of electric lines of force passing from 1 meter square is said to be density of electric lines of force. I hope you all understand about flux and its property. Now we'll discuss a question that depends on electric flux. So my dear student, in this question we'll understand the impact of electric field for flux if electric field is constant. So write down heading flux when electric field is constant. Flux when electric field is constant. Flux when electric field is constant. Write down flux when electric field is constant. Flux, write down electric flux when electric field is constant. Electric field is constant. This topic is understand through one numerical, my dear student. So try to understand what if electric field is constant. What if electric field is constant? So let's suppose we have a cuboid of side A, and the cuboid is placed. Let's suppose we have this cuboid. I'll make a cuboid again. This is our cuboid of side A, and this cuboid is placed in a Cartesian system. Let's say is A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H. Side is A. So I hope you all understand. This is your cuboid A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H, and this cuboid is placed in electric field of magnitude E naught, and the direction is, my dear student, I cap. So this E naught is basically constant term. E naught is constant. So we'll say that this cuboid is placed in a constant electric field. Now find the flux through each phase. Write down question. Find the flux through each phase. Find the flux through each phase of the cuboid. Find the flux through each phase of the cuboid. We know that any cuboid carries 6 faces, and we already discussed about the area vector of each face of cuboid. So I hope you all understand in that time. If not, then try to understand now. I'll make a table. I'll make a table here like this, in which 3 columns are there. In first column I'll write phase, in second column I'll write area vector, and in last column I'll write flux, which is equals to E vector dot A vector. So 6 faces are there, so I have to make 6 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to make one more column. It's 6th. So this is your phase column, this is your area vector column, and this is your flux column, which is equals to E vector dot A vector. Now see, first phase is A, B, C, D. I'll write here A, B, C, D. First I'll write all the phases. Next is E, F, G, H. So I'll write E, F, G and H. Next is B, F, G, C. So B, F, G, C. Next is A, D, H, E. So I'll write A, D, H, E. Next is front face. It is D, C, G, H. So D, C, G, H. Back face, it is A, B, F, E. So A, B, F, E. So this is the faces of this cuboid, and we know that, my dear student, one more thing, that I dot I, J dot J and K dot K is equals to 1. But if I'll make I dot J, or I'll make J dot K, or I'll make I dot K, it is equals to 0. So remember this thing, dot product of same unit vector, the result will be 1. Dot product of opposite unit vector or different unit vector, result will be 0. So here we have faces A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, B, F, G, C, A, D, H, E, D, C, G, H and A, B, F, E. We know that the area must be A square, and flux is E vector dot A vector. Now see, my dear student, A, B, C, D, we know that along y-axis the unit vector is j cap, along x-axis unit vector is I cap, and along z-axis unit vector is k cap. So A, B, C, D is directed in upward direction, so I'll write A square j cap. E, F, G, H is downward direction. I already explained this thing to you, so it is A square minus j cap. BFGC is directed in positive x-axis, so it is A square I cap. ADHE is directed towards negative x-axis, so it is right as A square minus I cap. Similarly, DCGH it is directed in front side, so it is A square and direction is k cap, and A square minus k cap. ABFE is in backward direction. Now see, my dear student, the value of electric field is E naught I cap. So we know that for phase, I'll write here phase ABCD, flux is equals to E vector dot A vector. So E vector is basically E naught I cap dot A square j cap. So we know that I dot j is 0, so flux is 0. So in this case, flux is 0, and I already tell you beta, when flux is 0, if no electric field lines are passing from given area, then we'll say flux is equals to 0. Now moving forward, phase EFGH, again flux is equals to E vector dot A vector. So E vector is E naught I cap and A vector is minus A square I cap. It is EFGH minus j cap, I'm sorry. So I dot j, again it is 0. So again flux is 0. Now see, phase BFGC. So phase BFGC is E vector dot A vector. So flux is equals to E naught I cap dot A square I cap. I dot I1, so it will be E naught A square. So here flux is E naught A square. Similarly, this is minus I cap, so I'll write directly, okay, I'll write phase ADHE, it is equals to E naught I cap dot A square minus I cap, it will be minus E naught A square. So here it is minus E naught A square. Similarly, this is k cap and electric field is I cap. So if we'll make dot product, I dot k is 0 minus k again is 0. So this is the value of flux through each phases. That is, flux through phase ABCD is 0. Flux through phase EFGH is again 0. Flux through phase BFGC is E naught A square. Flux through phase ADHE is minus E naught A square. Flux through phase DCGH is again 0. Flux through phase A square minus k ABFE is again 0. So this is what flux is. Flux along ABCD is 0, flux along EFGH is 0, flux along BFGC is E naught A square, and flux along ADH is minus E naught A square, DCGH is 0 and ABFE is again 0. Now if I'll find total flux, if I'll find total flux, my dear student, total flux. So total flux, that is phi net, it is equals to 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus E naught A square plus minus E naught A square plus 0 plus 0. So phi net again is equals to 0, my dear student. So this is a very important result. What we'll get here is, if we have a closed figure, remember, if we have a closed figure, then through that figure the flux is equals to 0. If that figure is placed in constant electric field, not variable, I am talking about only constant electric field. So I'll write in form of note as, if any closed figure is placed in uniform, or we can say constant electric field, then its flux net, not each phase, net flux is 0, always 0. And see my dear student, if flux is 0, now it implies the number of electric field lines which is coming inside the closed figure is equals to number of electric field lines which is going away from the closed figure. That is, input electric field and output electric field is equal. If 10 electric field lines are coming, 10 goes. So flux is equals to 0. So write down one more note that if flux is 0, then it implies the number of electric field lines, which is coming towards the figure, is equal to number of electric field lines going away from the figure. So thank you so much dear student. I hope you all understand what actually flux is and you are enjoying this part. This part is very easy my dear student. So try to understand, try to watch video if you can't understand in one time, and make your proper notes, because without notes you cannot compete with anyone or any exam. So take care, stay safe, stay home. We'll meet in next lecture, that will be forward with flux, and number of lecture is 17. So thank you so much, stay safe.